Hi guys, this is a tutorial on how to put a magnet in place of the bubble gum for Veronica. I recently just did my twins and I really like the way she looks. There are things that I learned that I probably could have done better, but I've never even really done doll repaints or anything like this. I was scared the entire time. As you can see, all you do is you put the gum on her and it just sticks, and it's basically a magnet that I glued, very tiny magnet. So let me show you how to do this process for your own doll. I know for me the actual hole punch they use on my dolls, the lips were damaged, so I probably should have filed them or they were really rough. But then I was afraid that maybe there would be other issues. So I just kind of worked with it. And you can kind of like position this any way you want. Yeah, there you go. And they're super strong magnets. So let's get to it. Okay, so what I used was I bought this stuff off of Amazon called Super White, because I wasn't sure what color I was going to end up with. It's the same thing as I think Apoxy Scuplt, or it might be the same, I don't know, I've never used this stuff before. So I got the Super White, and it's really white, so no matter what color you end up, you have to paint or whatever, it's not going to have, you won't have to consider shading or something. You're also going to need some super glue. I use the Gorilla super glue, acrylic paints, of course a paintbrush, a thing of water, but I don't have the water because I've already done mine. And then the magnets, they've got to be this small. And they are the super, I guess what do they call them? Neo something magnets. They're really good. And you can see I have some on the back so I can keep that one in place. But you can see they're really tiny, like an eighth of an inch. So you need to find those. And the super strong magnets. I'll put a link to the ones I used if I can find the link, but I will put it if I can find it. And I also got everything from Amazon. One last thing about this Super White, I'm wearing these gloves only as a safety precaution for you. It says you're supposed to wear these types of gloves when you're handling this. I did not do that, and I didn't really have a hard time. The other thing that I want to show you is that what I used for sculpting tools, since it's so small and I don't really have any, I used toothpicks. So you can go ahead and get yourself some toothpicks. You might have to cut down a brush so that it's really fine, because you're going to need a detail brush. And then I think that's everything. So okay, let me just show you some of the photos. I don't have video of me actually doing it, but I do have photos of the progress, well, as such as they are. So I'll show you those. Okay, so you can see I've already cut the stem off of the bubble. Don't cut it flush with the bubble. Make sure that there's still a little bit of it puckering out a little bit, because you're going to need to be able to put it up against the mouth where the magnet will be able to reach the other magnet. So it does need to stick out a little bit. So just make sure that you just cut a little platform and glue your magnet onto it, and just let that dry and set that aside. And then you're ready for the next step. Okay, here you can see I've already inserted the 1/8 inch magnet into the hole. Now it fits exactly. It's a little tight, so you're going to have to shove it in there a little bit, but make sure you don't push it all the way through to the back of the head, because it's not very thick where the cutout is. So you need to be mindful of how it needs to be a little bit flush, but just depends on how thick the vinyl is in your doll's mouth. I did not use any glue because I knew I was going to be using an Apoxy Scuplt type sealer, so that would also hold it into place. When you're satisfied with that, you're ready for the next step. Now, here's Veronica with her mouth filled in with the 2-part epoxy sealer. You kind of need to make sure you use the 2-part in equal parts, very small amounts, and you just apply it to the area that you want to cover. It was a little bit difficult to work with in such a small location, but I think if some of you are more well versed in sculpting at all, this will be a piece of cake for you. It was a little difficult for me, and I also had those ridges in the doll's mouth that was going to ruin my dream of letting her have teeth. I was just going to end up having to cover some of those ridges and do whatever I needed to do. But she looked so adorable with teeth, don't you think? So for the next one, I'm going to try to give her teeth. But for right now, I just need to get the magnet covered. And that's what I did. And as I mentioned before, I used toothpicks to sculpt it a little bit. You can add water to smooth it out, but the toothpicks did the trick for me. And then you need to let this dry thoroughly, at least 8 hours. So this is my Veronica now after I've painted her lips. They're a dark purple. I just did my best on it. I'm not a doll artist and never done anything like this before. So I just did what I could. And I thought she looked pretty good. The magnets still stuck to each other, so that was good. You don't want to make that epoxy too thick so that the magnet can't adhere to it. After I was done, I put a clear coat of nail polish on her so that she had shiny lips, and I'll show you that one. Look how cute she is. She's adorable with her gum, and now that you've put the magnet in and repainted her lips, she can go back to being as glamorous as all the other dolls with no bubble gum. But it does set her apart, and it's nice to have it as an accessory. So anytime you want it, you just pick it up, put it up in her mouth, and you will have it just like that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll come back and subscribe and watch some more of my videos. Thank you. There she is with her twin, looking all badass, but she can still chew her gum.